Hello everybody, my name is RagingRaptor and I welcome you to a new World of Tanks preview. And today we have the top, the pinnacle, the end of the new and upcoming French heavy tank line or heavy tank tree. And honestly, like this tank was hinted at so long ago, like it's ridiculous. I think it was an update 7.0 tanks where they actually showed us this tank. Yes, and well, it's 5 years ago. So we'll have a quick look at it. I'm going to mute the video. I don't want to get copyright striked or something like that right now. That would be a little bit sad. Just need to wait for it to load, which is sadly taking a little bit long. There we go, the T30 in its glory as a heavy tank getting smashed by an enemy tank. And this is it. This is 5 years ago, the same tank we have or will have right now. Just watch out. I already hinted at this in my older video where I talked about this upcoming tank. There he has the 50B hull, which means, yes, this tank was faster than it is now. But it will have a lot better protection with the new hull, even though the sights are still not that strong. But well, this is it. This is the tank we waited 5 years for. We got teased 5 years ago. I'm leaving you that in the comment section below to have a look at it. But yeah, here we are, 5 years later, 2,200 hit points and a tank which feels extremely similar to the E5. I will really often take similarities from the E5 to this tank. And it already starts with the hit points. The hit points are exactly the same. Then, well, the engine is 1,200 horsepower strong and 80 tons is your mass. And really, this is important to know. Like, this tank will be phenomenal when it comes to ramming. 40 kilometers top speed is already pretty good. 80 tons plus the engine power is magnificent. Plus the frontal hull arm of 220 millimeters is like, it's like finger licking good for ramming, especially when they hit this super thick part here. But well, what do we have next? The HP to ton ratio is worse than on the E5, and as far as I remember, it's pretty much the same on the FV215B. Here we go. Now the FV215B is a much slower, but well, the E5 comes pretty darn close to that HP to ton ratio. Maybe it's the IS7. Have a quick look. Oh, the IS7 is even better now because of the update, because of the buffs which came to this tank. Yeah, I don't really remember right now the best comparison for that tank. The 100 is much worse at 9 or something. Maybe it's the Krankenwagen. Yeah, the Krankenwagen. But we know the Krankenwagen is not that fast, but this is also due to its... Well, you think that it should be much faster with its 60 kilometers top speed, but it isn't. I know from experience that this tank gets to its pretty good top speed, rather not often. What it will get to is its, well, pretty decent 40 kilometers per hour top speed, which is not a problem when you have this tank with roughly the same HP to ton ratio. And well, what is now the problem in my opinion is the fuel range. The fuel range is only 390 meters, and this makes this tank in my opinion not that fun. Because many tier 10 tanks have 400 meters plus fuel range. Obviously I just took the tank which doesn't have that. Good job RagingRaptor. No, like many tanks has 400 and 400 plus, like the FV215B it's 410 meters, even 100 has 400 meters. Even Mouse has 400 as far as I remember. Yes, IS7, now the rental version, has 400 meters. You get the gist? There is a lot of 400 meters tank in the game, and this is something which is a standard, like something you want to have. And those 10 meters make the difference between getting 445 meters of fuel range easily and not so easily, and you need to invest a lot of crew skills, or maybe even something like coffee, which is obviously your premium consumable. But now let's get to the most interesting or important part, the hull armor. because this is like the bread and butter for that tank, and as you can see, this tank is strongly armored frontally. We have this 220 millimeters thick front armor, and I'm even thinking to say that the lower part here is around 300 millimeters thick. And the lower part, well, it's only 120 to 125 millimeters thick, but still, it still will be strong. I'm debating if this is 150 or 180 millimeters thick. I do hope for this tank it to be 180 millimeters thick and not 150, because then, oh boy, 150 millimeters is strong on tier 8. Look at that, roughly the same hole. It's strong, yes, but when you slightly angle, it's already gone. And with 180 millimeters, still 30 millimeters plus, that's still a lot of things to change about this tank, or a lot of things which can be better. But the most important part is you have a 120 millimeter thick cupola, or rather cupolas, as you can see here, two of them on top of your tank, but they are really far back. And using 8 degrees of gun depression, which this tank has, which is yet again the same as an E5, which then looks roughly like this, so we can go a lot deeper. There we go, something like this. The cupolas will vanish for the enemies to shoot at. Why will they vanish? Because it's vanish oxy action. Wait, what? Excuse me. No, it is because they are so far behind. They're so far in the back of the tank, as you can see here, that they will vanish from sight. Also, seriously though now, props to how they made the tank. The tank model looks magnificent in my opinion. They put a lot of stuff on it and it looks like a tank which is being used by an army. But again, the armor will be great. You can see it on that gun. That gun is 300 millimeters all around thick roughly, which will make it immune to AP shells. Will be a stronghold down tank, a really stronghold down tank. And I'm even thinking that this tank has a right to live in the new meta, in the current meta. Maybe even shake things up a little bit. But now let's have a look at the two different gun stats or gun variants we have. Yes, guys, this tank is one of those rare tier 10 tanks which have different options for guns. Speaking of, or most notable, M48 pattern, but I think they took away those guns. Bachatillion and the E100. Those are the ones which I remember. Oh yeah, and Type 5 heavy, but there's your obvious which one you take. HE. Anywho, here you have a 130mm gun and a 120mm gun, and we'll have a look at both of them. What I sadly don't know yet is, well, which gun do you have already and which gun do you need to get first? I think the 120mm gun will be the ones you have from beginning, and the other one will be the ones you will get later on. Like the 130 is the gun you need to grind. And yes, let's have a look. 560 damage, 640 with AHE, 250mm of penetration. There it already starts. 250 is not a lot. We have several 130mm guns on tier 10, which is notably the IS-7 and the WZ-111 Model 5A, which I already did a video about because it has a stupid amount of DPM. Seriously though, it's like really ridiculous. You get this DPM down to 8.8 seconds reload time. Like it's bonks. It's real bonks. So well, the problem is though, this tank has also 250mm of penetration, as you can see here, but it has 60mm of penetration more with premium shells, and this makes a difference. 340 penetrates easily the turret of an E100. 280 doesn't, and that's a big bummer for this tank, and I think this will be also quite the saddening part why you won't use that gun that often, especially the DPM is not that good. This gun will be great for those encounters where you do boom and zoom, or like just click a boom, go around the corner, trade your shots, and then you are up front because your DPM is decent and well, the damage is there. 560 is a lot more than 440 or 490 like the IS-7 does. But as soon as you fight something like an E100 or a mouse or a Type 5 heavy, those 280mm will come really into strong problems. Or maybe let's just look at the Czech Panzer 100. Well, when it stands like this, 280 will have a lot of troubles penetrating that one. And I know for a fact that even Jack Panzer even hundreds bounce often. Or like 50% of the time you bounce here as a Jack Panzer 100. Yeah, 1600 games are a lot, and I know how this tank plays around. And also the new tank, the WZ 113 GFT also has those 280mm threshold when he stands still. If he goes hold down even a little bit, there we go, something like this, it goes up to 300. And there our lovely WZ 111 will have the upper hand because it is heat and 340mm thick. Sure, AP is also great, we saw it down here, it is premium AP shells, but again, it's simply not sufficient enough. And we also have this problem with the Type 5 Heavy when he uses the 14cm ship gun. Well, the PM 2360 is definitely better than the one on the, what's it called? Is it? There it is, on the i7, but it's nothing compared to the WZ or the E5. And yeah, accuracy though is really good. 0.31 is excellent, 2.1 seconds aim time is meh. And gun depression of -8, that is still something you'll wish to have. Now we get the 120mm D1203B gun, a better variant, and well, the only notable thing which I saw right now is the much better penetration of the AP shells. Well, much better, take it with caution, it's just a little bit better, but it's still something. And 325mm of APCR penetration. With that comes a better DPM of 2430, roughly comparable to that one of the E5. Same goes with the aim time. The aim time is even better with 1.7 seconds compared to the 1.9. And well, the accuracy is really good for a heavy tank, 0.28. And yes, out of here right now, I would say I'll go for the 120mm gun. The DPM is better, and well, the penetration is much better, aim time is better, accuracy is better. Yes, I would go for that gun. That's my personal opinion. And yes, here we have it. This is the tank we waited 5 years for. It looks great in my opinion. The armor will be really strong, and it will be an amazing hold down vehicle. And the good fact, and one notable thing is when you compare to other tanks when it comes to clan wars, you have the WZ model 11, but the problem is its whole armor is really not that great. Sure, the gun is great and such, and the DPM is horrendous, plus the turret is really strong, but it still has a little bit more gun depression, this tank here. And the cupola weak spots are not that pronounced. And the big problem will be as soon as this tank goes into a side scraping mode. Oh, look, this is a big problem. As soon as you see the side of this tank, or just a tiny bit of the frontal road wheel, you will get penetrated. Something like this, you will get penetrated. The E5 has the same problem. See? There we go. Oh, suddenly like 400, almost 500mm of armor, 450 and 170 suddenly, because they nerfed it a lot. The side, anything else is a ricochet, but here you have such an easy time to penetrate because they changed the armor to be a lot weaker. As you can see here, this link is hugely weak. This will happen the same with this tank. You can see here, the armor is so weak in the back. As soon as you show a tiny bit too much of the road wheel, it will get penetrated with a detracking shot, and this is deadly. This is really deadly, and this will happen to that tank. This will happen to the tank often. But well, guys, that is my video to this new addition to the game, the AMX M4 MLE54. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. Thanks so much for well, your attention, and good luck on the battlefield. I'll talk to you all later.